Overgrown is a dystopian fable set in a post-apocalyptic alternate universe. Mankind's misuse of an ancient language with the power to manipulate time and space has led to our near extinction, leaving nature to reclaim the waste we left behind. Warfaring tribes are all that remains of humanity now, forced to contend with eldritch horrors released by the ancient tongue. The story of Overgrown follows a group of orphaned children from a tribe known as the Silent. These masked acolytes traverse the surface world with one purpose: to travel to the Tower of Babel and utter the phrase of reversal, undoing the apocalypse and restoring order to the planet. The tone of Overgrown could be described as Peter Pan meets Mad Max, with a balance between magical realism and dystopian grittiness. As the Silent journey through luscious green landscapes, littered with remnants of humanity, they encounter several terrors, both human and otherworldly.
Thank you guys for joining us today. This is Tilly Roads of Feature. My name is Jordan with co-host Vikki. And today we have Sebastian here with us.
What's up? Nice to be here with y'all.
Good. Hey, how's it going?
Going pretty well.
Awesome. What got you into the film industry?
My passion for storytelling inspired me wanting to get into film, and I love telling surrealist stories. I'm big into dream logic and essentially absurdism and trying to de-familiarize the familiar. We walk through the world and we have these constructed ways of viewing everything, and I think that cinema and music and art in general is so special because it can break us out of that and make us see things in new ways. So that's why I love cinema and storytelling.
Awesome. So would you say that you do more abstract type of work, like work that makes people think? Is that
Yeah. I think if I can have a film, and the one that we're going to talk about today is not this film in particular, but a film that inspires people to actually get up and walk out of the theater, that would be a victory for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wait. In a good way or a bad way?
I think I want to confront people's preconceived notions so strongly to the extent that maybe they have to leave the room and take a breather,
That's intense.
Yeah, powerful.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's not just a shock as well. Of course, it's to connect with people and to share empathy through the medium of film. So.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like we know you're currently a student right now. And so to talk about that, talk about the film that you just recently, or you're producing, in the process of producing.
Yeah, so I'm a student at UC Berkeley right now studying film, and I'm part of the Cinematic Arts and Production Club, which I joined right when I got to Berkeley because I was just looking for any opportunity related to filmmaking and trying to find my clique here, being from Los Angeles and new to the Bay Area and whatnot. And so CAP provided a lot of opportunities for me, or I should say CAP Club provided a lot of opportunities for me, and it started the germ of this idea, which spawned into Overgrown, which is a dystopian fable of sorts about a tribe of children venturing through the post-apocalyptic wasteland. And I wanted to address, essentially through allegory or just through images and sound and not dialogue, the world that we're gonna leave behind for our kids if we continue on this path that we're on right now, not just as a nation, but just globally. And so that was the core of the idea that it spawned from, and Jarvis Nguyen, Christian Rodriguez. I could just go through the whole list of cast and crew right now, but they're just so incredible. They are incredible people to work with, and I wanted to also create something that I knew would be a huge challenge for us to pull off, and that would push their abilities to the next level through rising to meet these challenges. And so what could be more challenging than trying to create a whole new world on the screen, especially when, a lot of student films, it's just hey, I'm a student, my girlfriend broke up with me, they're sort of the generic plot lines, which, no shade to people who want to make those films, but.
Yeah, no.
What do you think that film evokes in terms of thought or emotion? If you had to pick a main thing, a couple main things.
Yeah. In terms of thought, I would say abandonment. Because we walk through these spaces that are densely populated, but they take on a different sort of energy and character when the people are removed from it. And these structures are returned to their natural state, which is waiting to be overgrown, right? I mean, as soon as we leave this building, if no janitors come, this place is, the vines are going to start growing through the, through the floor and through the walls and everything, and nature will reclaim what we think is ours right now, but we're just borrowing it,
There's definitely something really emotional and really powerful about things that are abandoned and decaying or like falling apart and like left alone for long.
Yeah. And so my question is, I want to ask about the costume design for Overgrown. I thought it was very artistic. I mean, the whole film is really artistic and, really eye-catching and stuff like that, but particularly about the costumes. Like, what made you want to give your characters the mask and have the bunny who's like the kid and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, first of all, shout out to Leah Rosenthal. Huge shout out to her. She's an incredibly talented wardrobe designer. And she made those, costumes from just scraps that she found and pieced these together from just sourcing materials for like dirt cheap because, student filmmakers, we don't really have a budget to work with. But the idea for the characters wearing masks came from, again, going back to that idea of de-familiarization and having this layer between us and the character that sort of acts as a barrier that the audience wants to work through, And so there are these moments where the emotion really shines through the masks, through close-ups on the eyes, as well as the body language of the character. And sort of removing that, it's very easy to like telegraph, expressions or emotions like through your face, but making that physical and finding a way to externalize those very like internal feelings, the masks just force the actors to express that in another way for me. And also relating it to animals, there's like a lot of lore for Overgrown, and I have like this Bible essentially that just goes over the like history of this fictional world. And this tribe known as the Silence, and essentially they revere animals. They revere the natural world and sort of, they have a deep sense of remorse over the fact that humans destroyed the natural world. And so them wearing animal masks is a way to connect to their deities, which are these mythical animals, which maybe don't exist to the same extent in the post-apocalyptic world.
Crazy, so many things. So I want to ask you just two different questions, and you can jump on whichever one or however it flows. So the first question is like directing people in masks. How did you find that? Where you had to actually, so they're wearing masks, like their expressions. Hey, you have to express it through their like emotions. Like, how was that?
Yeah, that was a really fun challenge, and it came through a lot of rehearsal with my actors and really just finding out little tics, little personality traits that related to their animals as well that they represented, and figuring out how we can externalize that through their body movements. And I'd say it was a really good process actually working with actors, masks, and just any expression that or any emotion that I would have them convey through dialogue or through like face expressions had to be translated into the body. And so in a way it felt like silent film acting,
How did you decide who to cast for these non-speaking masked roles? Because that's really interesting.
Stature was a big thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to have like a Wi-Fi signal sort of hierarchy with the tribe. So Squeak, the little one, she's the shortest, and then Wiley, the middle child, he's a bit taller, and then we have Cotton, who's the leader of the group. And I casted them based on their actual personalities. The actress who I got to play Squeak, she's like very playful, just has that eccentric attitude about her, and likewise for Cotton, for instance, she's very like stoic as a person, and so I just tried to extrapolate their real personalities and like, implement that into the character.
Let's talk about the writing process of this one. So you said, I don't know if we did this before we started rolling or after, but you said it's going to be a feature.
Yeah.
And this 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes is already like part of that feature, or that's separate?
That's part of the feature.
Okay.
Yeah,
And these characters don't speak?
They don't speak.
Wow.
They have little noises essentially that they make, but they made a vow not to speak because in this world it's actually language that led to humanity's destruction and us splitting into these different groups.
So cool.
Yeah. I wanted to center, like, language is how we perceive the world, really. It's like how we are, like, essentially communicating, like, almost like telepathically right now. But it also is a huge divider for people and a source of conflict, you know. And when there's a sort of, things get lost in translation, and it can, you know, divide nations and people potentially as well. So I just wanted to explore, like, the constructive and, you know, destructive qualities of language.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That
And
was-
about the writing part of it, so you already have the feature already written. Everything's
Yes.
you have a backstory behind the story itself.
Yeah.
How long did that take, and how did that come about? Like,
So the writing process for Overgrown was extremely unique. It was like different from a lot of other films I'd done, where it was just like just a germ that inspired, and it was more like just me working solo to bring it to life. It actually came from, it was called Project AOS originally, which I don't really know what that means, to be honest, because Jarvis Nguyen, you know, he came to me and he told me he wanted to do this science fiction, you know, post-apocalyptic idea, and it's called Project AOS, like above our souls, let's just call it that. And it was extremely different. The only similarities were the Tower of Babel, which is the main objective for our characters in Overgrown, is they're trying to get to the Tower of Babel in order to actually speak, because it's forbidden for the tribe to speak unless they're in the tower, because that's where they have to say the phrase of reversal. And essentially, these are words from the Elder Ones, which exist on an entirely different metaphysical plane from us. But these words have the power to directly manipulate reality. I could speak a word and I can change.
Because they do say words are spells.
Exactly, yeah. And
Yeah.
like mind over matter, that whole concept. And I wanted to delve into that too. But yeah, so the Tower of Babel was a similarity between the original AOS and Overgrown. And I started going in a direction that just like wasn't really like me. Like I rewrote the script and had it be about like this like older female character who finds this young boy in this post-apocalyptic land and has to like help him to get to safety. But it just felt like too Last of Us adjacent. I just saw something more just with symbols, and you know, I kept seeing the rabbit mask like imagery just appear in my mind, and also the Extinctionists, which you know you'll see in parts 2 and 3. They're this cult that they worship death. And they think that humanity actually should have been wiped out by the apocalypse. And that was God's intention, but God didn't finish the job fully. So now it's up to the Extinctionists to wipe out the rest of the human race.
oh no.
Yeah. And of course they're gonna go after our tribe.
Oh snap.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
But I just had, you know, in combination of the image of the rabbit and the hunting scene, I saw the Extinctionists worshiping this piece of, you know, decrepit machinery that's just been left there. And so I just built upon those images, and really this whole narrative came from those images. And
When did the seed of this get planted in your head?
it was during that rewrite process of the original AOS, because yeah, I had rewritten the script, I showed it to Jarvis, he's like, it's great, let's do it, and it just didn't sit right with me. And I was obviously like thinking a lot about environmentalism during that time, and yeah, I was also just like contemplating abandoned spaces and going to that. And I'd say some of the scouting opportunities we did in Santa Cruz, as well as when we went up to Marin County, and just being in nature, like as a city boy who doesn't really get out too much, you know, it was just an experience that gave me this huge boost of serotonin, and it was like, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to create. And yeah, I couldn't turn down that opportunity to be in nature.
I'd like to learn a little bit about the UC Berkeley,
Yeah.
the whole dynamic, but not only just the group that you guys have, because the work that you guys are producing is really awesome, but also like just going to school at UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley is not really known for film.
Yeah.
And you moved from LA and grew up in LA to do film.
To come up here with
To
us.
the Bay Area.
You want to hang out with us? Like, come on.
I'm glad I came. But,
I'm so curious.
yeah, so like a lot of people, I applied to UCLA and didn't get in. I actually was on the wait list for like my first 2 weeks of Berkeley, and was really just wanting to go to UCLA for the film program, like it's right next to the studios and all that. And I interned a whole lot while I was in LA as well. So went to a lot of different companies there, and I thought I needed to stay in that environment, but what I really needed was to get out of it and have some perspective and to be like alone in this city by myself and sort of like find myself here. And you know, coming up to, you know, the Bay Area, the first thing I was struck by is the greenery and just how lush it is.
Yeah.
And so you're asking what planted the seed. I think maybe the Bay Area did it for me.
And Berkeley's a really great campus. Like, it's a park with the school on it.
Exactly, yeah. The Campanile and everything. It's like an amusement park, right? Yeah. But yeah, so Berkeley is very theory-centric as opposed to production-centric, which essentially means that you learn a lot more about film history and like the social implications of certain pieces of media and how they relate to other media in a historical context, which is very helpful knowledge to have as a filmmaker, but it can't be the only knowledge you have if you don't know what an exposure triangle is or what a log line is, or you know, just these things that you know, I try to balance like the theoretical with the practical always. So yeah, I'd say that UC Berkeley has given me a lot of good exposure to the theoretical side of it, and then I've always just been resolute in making my own productions, like outside of school anyway.
Gotcha. And so when we say theory, so everybody understands what theory is, we're talking about the way the frames are. We're talking about the theory of a symbol or a color, maybe. I don't know, like, is it the colors and the music and stuff, like you're learning that type of stuff, the production design.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what it means for the narrative and you know, certain like power dynamics within a shot and whatnot, but then it's like, let me pick up the camera and do it myself.
So
you
there's
know?
not a lot of hands-on learning, is
No. There's like 2 production classes, and I don't want to.
No cameras?
No. Okay, so I'm in a production class right now, which I absolutely love.
Okay.
J. Mira Kopel, amazing professor. Please take her if you go to Berkeley and have any interest in film. But intermediate production has been like so much fun for me right now. I'm making an anthology about surveillance in that class right now, and just like the modern implications of that in like an expressionistic way. So I don't want to deter any potential filmmakers from going to Berkeley, because honestly I was so hell-bent on going to UCLA that I was a bit stubborn, and you know, having that final rejection letter after being on the waiting list for however long, of them being like, yeah, sorry, we couldn't get you a spot. And, it was just like a wake-up call of, you know what, I don't need that. I could just make my own curriculum.
Exactly.
And yeah, you'll find like your tribe of people wherever you go if you're diligent and you look out.
So how did you find the tribe? Like how did that all form about? Or you just joined the group and it was like, this is the group?
No, it was a long journey. So joined Cinematic Arts and Production Club fall semester of last year, and the way it works is you interview for the club, either you get in or you don't. If you get in, then you're put into a team with 3 people you've never met before, and you gotta make a short film with them. So I made a short horror film called Repossession, and that was fun. That was like minimal dialogue as well, and just like a visual storytelling experience. And then I switched groups, and I ended up co-writing and co-directing a film called To Bits, which is about a med school student. It's a body horror film about a med school student who is physically falling apart due to the stress he's enduring. And yeah, then after To Bits, I made Canopsia, which is sort of a hauntological piece that was inspired by a poem I made in various conversations. And then that led to me meeting the group that I'm now making Overgrown with. So it was me filtering through a lot of groups, getting to know different people and their workflows, and you know, just like tapping into that community generally, and expanding my network gradually over time.
So the group is not centralized, it's sort of scattered but centralized?
Yeah, scattered but centralized is actually a really good way to put it, because there's a lot of people in the club.
Okay.
Jarvis is going to correct me later, but I think we have like 180 members right now.
Wow.
So That's a lot of groups.
Yeah.
All UC Berkeley students.
All UC Berkeley students, and not all of them studying film. Like as you talked to Steven already, I imagine.
No, Steven's coming up next. I think he's at the door right now. That's why I'm getting this call from Ken, who doesn't want to bring him over here. Group of 180 people, and Alan started the group, right?
Yeah, Alan started Cap Club back in 2018, and he graduated from UC Berkeley since then, and now he's returned as a graduate student and is making amazing stuff like Land's End.
Were you at the premiere?
I was at the premiere, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, sweet, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really good stuff. Yeah.
Good reception, right?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
When did you first know you wanted to be a filmmaker?
Yeah. Well, that takes me back to Miss Milani's class in 10th grade at University High School. My history teacher, who loved film and just wanted to have these kids go out and make little short films about historical events. And so my group had Marie Antoinette as our assignment, and I was essentially out of like high school for a period of time, and I re-entered in 10th grade. And so I was coming into it with a lot of social anxiety, not really knowing myself very well, and thinking that I wanted to just be a writer, just be like as behind the scenes as possible, and you can make the film and I'll be back here. And I met someone who wanted to be a director and was super inspired by Steven Spielberg. And so we had this silly assignment, but then this guy, it's come for his time to direct. It's like, now the lights are on and everything, and he's like having a nervous breakdown basically. These kids are too like unwieldy, and he doesn't know where to put the camera, and I'm just like, oh, put it here, just here, say this. And
you're like, hold on, I can do this.
yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not even that much, so.
It's worth the learning curve.
Exactly, yeah. And worth working with those unruly kids wearing the powdered wigs and stuff for Marie Antoinette. Just like, if you could imagine, like, as diverse as LA is, like all those kids like pretending to be French and like running up the stairs in their little wigs and stuff. But and during the premiere, because we all show our films in class for our final project, and ours was the one I cut it and everything. I was like learning Premiere, and this was around the same time where I was like starting to sell certain promo work I was doing on Instagram for like rap artists in Michigan or wherever. And so when our film screened and everyone like gave it the huge like round of applause, and they were all like complimentary and saying like, this is like a movie, of course I look back and now it's just like the goofiest shit ever. Like, I can't believe they let us make that.
Of course.
But it was just like, wow, this can connect with people, and this can like bring people joy in this way. And so that made me feel really good. And then my animation teacher, I forgot her name. You'll have to cut that part out. I'm so sorry. I really want to remember her name, but I can't. My animation teacher ended up referring me to a program called Inner City Filmmakers right after high school. And what ICF is it's an 8-week-long filmmaking boot camp in which each student writes, directs, and edits their own 3-minute non-dialogue short film.
How soon? How fast is that?
That's 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks for 3 minutes of non-dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
There's a lot of non-dialogue stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Not purposely.
Well, purposefully. Absolutely.
Overgrown for sure.
Yeah, and also that first ICF project was purposefully no dialogue, due to the reason that when you are learning to be a filmmaker, a lot of people just want to put 2 people in a room, sit them down, and they're talking, and shot opposite shot, and it's a lot of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, over the shoulder.
They saw Pulp Fiction once, and they think they're Quentin Tarantino, But when you remove that dialogue and you force people to focus on just what is in the frame and what does it sound like, then that's really the foundations of how to speak the cinematic language, So ICF really gave me that foundation and that core and that confidence through making a non-dialogue film, and also working as like a DP and gaffer and on various other student short films. And then that just like shot me off into the internship pipeline, where I was doing a lot of script consulting and coverage for scripts for various production companies.
So what other stuff do you do? I heard write, direct, but then I kind of heard DP, I think, as well. Like, what else do you do? Or are you kind of just whatever is needed?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call myself like a jack of all trades at all. I would say that like everything is centered around my desire to write and direct, and I learn about these various fields in order to underscore and improve my knowledge as a director, so I'm better able to communicate with those departments.
Gotcha. So writing and directing is the main focus.
Writing and directing is absolutely my passion, and writing and directing feature films is what I want to do with my life. So.
There we have it. That's why we're on the road to feature podcast, baby.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So have you ever tried acting?
Not in the most like professional context, but yeah, I'd say so. I've got a little taste.
I see a lot of directors taking acting to try to understand the actors more.
Yeah, that's definitely a journey I have to take next. As I was saying, like learning all the departments to underscore directing, working with actors is one of the most, if not like the most important part of that. So taking more improv classes and just like being in that actor headspace, I think will be important for me moving forward. But lately I've just enjoyed my little cameos or like acting opportunities in my like fellow students' short films and whatnot.
Yeah,
So.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And so, what do you think? You're really young, but you're. Well, what do you think keeps you going? You know.
Well, yeah, I'm not that young. I'm 24. I mean, well,
Bro.
I know.
Let's not.
I know. I know. It seems like.
Just wait till you look back. Just wait.
You think he grown?
Just wait till you look back at this.
But, absolutely. But you have to like contextualize this, okay?
Okay.
Meeting one of Cap Club, they say, how many people in this room are freshmen? 90% of the room raise their hand. I'm like, these people all just got out of high school. They're 18. Like,
Yeah.
And so then that makes me feel like an old head.
Yeah. At school, right?
Yeah. But what was the question? I'm sorry. Like,
Well, so like what keeps you going? Like how do you keep that inspiration? And I said you're young because it seems like this light bulb that's just like you're just getting started pretty much.
You are like
Yeah.
you are so on fire inside, and it is so apparent. And like I can see, for me, I can sense a long future for you in this. Like that's just what I feel. Like I really believe in it. Everything you say.
Thank you. That means the world. Yeah, I mean, what keeps that fire burning is my love for the medium and my, I guess, incapability to stop dreaming in this way of, like dreaming up these worlds. If once that dream starts in my head and it starts brewing, I feel the need. It's almost like, this kettle that's bubbling over and it just needs to come out, and I need to express that. So it's ultimately my desire and my need for self-expression. And even if it wasn't a career for me, like I would be doing that in some way, shape, or form with art, whether I was like making music or writing or like painting or whatever it is. So
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And last but not least, where can people find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at VIISNS. That's the main way to reach me or just like see the work that I'm doing right now.
Well, there you have it. We have Sebastian here. Thank you for blessing us.
Thank you.
On the Road to Feature podcast. Appreciate you. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Peace.